So tomorrow, 20th of February, begins the final hearing at London's High Court that will determine whether our great hero, Julian Assange, will be extradited to the US to face these spying charges. Now, I am so worried about Julian because, having followed his horrific journey in the last 14 years, since his days in solitary confinement at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where I sometimes used to stand and protest for his release, and to his last 5 years in Belmarsh prison, the worst prison in Britain, where the worst criminals are sent to. I have followed his plight, and many people, who have done the same are equally concerned what would happen were Julian to be extradited to the US to face these charges. I mean, everybody knows that it would be so much worse for him than it's already been were that to happen. And of course, we all know, well, at most anybody with a heart and a sense of justice knows that these charges are totally they're a joke, right? It's all a charade. First of all, whistleblowers are not spies. They're journalists. They are protected by law. Well, in theory they are. In practicality, we now know they aren't. So, if it weren't for Julian and his work with WikiLeaks, we wouldn't know a quarter of what we know now of our government, of our political elite, right? Our media elite too. So, I mean, everybody knows the name Julian Assange, but, even if they might not know who he is or what he did. So I'm just going to go over that quickly. So what have we learned from Julian? What has he revealed? What has he exposed to the world? Well, first of all, he's exposed horrific war crimes committed by the US Army in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're talking about, deliberate targeting of civilians and journalists. It's exposed torture, immense torture of prisoners of war, including Guantanamo Bay, corruption within the Democratic Party, especially leading up to the 2016 election, and of course a very important one that seems to have angered so many is the reality that our governments are spying on us on every move we make. Of course, now that's obvious, but when those leaks appeared, people had no clue that they were being spied on. They didn't know any of this stuff, right? Some might have suspected, but most people had no clue. So these are extremely important revelations, and they have changed the world. They've changed the nature of media. They've changed the nature of information delivery. And, this is why he's being punished, okay? Because this information is in the great public interest, okay? So, and this is why they have detained him for so long. This is why they have been punishing him for so long, because it serves as a deterrent against anyone else, any other journalist or would-be whistleblower who wants to do something, who's concerned with justice. So let's see what happens in the next couple of days. I pray for Julian so hard, and I hope you all do the same, because literally, as I said the other day, his life is in God's hands. If he's extradited, he's a dead man.